do you think that ETH could ever be better than Bitcoin, bigger than Bitcoin, and it becomes number one, or do you always think only think it's always going to be second rate?
What uh, what is Bitcoin though? Like compared
Uh,
to ETH, you know what I mean? Compared to ETH, what is Bitcoin? What all can you do with ETH,
hmm,
or what all can you do with Bitcoin that you can't do with ETH? I mean, I think there's so much more potential for Ethereum, and there's so much more going on with Ethereum. Um, I think Bitcoin's always going to be there. I think it's always going to be the granddaddy of all cryptos. So I don't know if ETH will ever flip it, but I think ETH will always be more popular. I think ETH will always have more things built on it. You know what I mean? Like, what is Bitcoin? What are you doing with it?
hmm. Just sitting there trying to
Besides,
make money on it, right?
besides trying to, yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, there's Ethereum's got so much potential, and you could build so much on Ethereum, and that you can't do on it on Bitcoin.
Definitely. I never really looked at it from that perspective. I mean, I'm obviously kind of liking myself to an ETH maxi. I mean, I see some other projects. It's not like, oh, I won't talk to you or anything, but it's really interesting. I haven't ever looked at it from that perspective of like, yeah, there's no Bitcoin NFTs. Nobody's really trying to build some form of technology on it. It just kind of it's the coin. And I know a lot of financial analysts that say when it does come out, who actually is behind Bitcoin, it's going straight to zero. So well, I didn't say it. I'm not a financial analyst. I've just heard multiple people say it. So I don't know. And that could be the flip. Who knows? But a lot of people, a lot of people are talking about the flipping. Wifey, did you have any thoughts? I mean, I know that's you like to just stay in the pretty pictures and don't get down that fucking rabbit hole. But did you did you have any thoughts on it?
Um,
I know
no,
you so well.
honestly, I didn't. I've never messed around with Bitcoin, so I've always just I came in February and followed him, and so I'm still really learning a lot about everything, which is a reason why I really love the Second Breakfast. I mean, you get laughs, and I'm really learning a lot being in there. So,
Mm,
but like right now, I mean, I have to just kind of go with what Cody said.
Do you own Bitcoin personally? I don't own
nope.
any Bitcoin.
No, I have some
I
ETH in a
don't.
holding wallet. That's
I
it.
don't own any Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, to make money on Bitcoin, you have to own a lot of it. It's a slow mover. It's a slow grower.
No,
And
if this was 2008, I'd probably be talking different, right?
yeah,
I'd probably buy a couple thousand worth of Bitcoin. Like
well, yeah.
it's yeah, and probably the same worth of ETH. And now hindsight's 2020, whatever you want to say. But yeah, you just said it. It's unless you have a pocketbook, boy, there's no point. You're gonna see way more growth in ETH for sure.
I mean, the stability is there. Like I said, it's the grandpappy of all crypto. But like, if you really want to, not financial advice, if you really want to make money with crypto, you're not looking at Bitcoin. You're not looking at Ethereum. You're looking at all these altcoins that have the lower market caps.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones you're going to make all your money on. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to make money on Bitcoin unless you have a ton of it, and unless you're trading it. I don't even know how you could make a lot of money on Bitcoin,
Yeah,
honestly.
unless you just
You
had a
know,
shitload of money to get involved for sure.
unless you got in it back in '08. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When people were buying pizzas for it. But I mean,
And t-shirts. Yeah, Vitalik was like, "Oh yeah, I sold 5 bitcoins or 25 bitcoins for a t-shirt." And it's just like, yeah, I mean, I wish. But yeah, I I guess kind of a closing point on that. Like I've been talking a lot about flow. I mentioned it yesterday, I mentioned it today, Dapper Labs, all that. I mentioned it yesterday. It was up like 13.5% in a 24-hour period. Now, obviously, Instagram announced, oh, we're going to have NFT compatibility, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, I mean, they're really I think not enough people give them enough credit. Do you think that they have a potential to come into a race at all? Like even with Solana now kind of starting to gain a little bit of traction, but all that soul shit happened and now kind of people a little tentative about it. Do you think Flow can make any moves or do you mess with Flow at all?
I don't mess with flow, but I think anybody coming in new, I think people are going to be, the same as Solana. People are going to be hesitant. People are going to be watching, keeping their eyes on stuff. they're going to feel more comfortable, you know, with things that they know and are familiar with, and know that haven't rugged, haven't had issues, haven't had hacks or security breaches. Or, I mean, we were supposed to launch on Solana. Like, we were originally going to launch on Solana. I announced it. And the day after I announced it, the whole network went down for 2 days. Like, I'm not doing this.
No.
I'm not launching on Solana. And then, like, the following week they got hacked, and then their main marketplace got hacked. And it's like one thing after another with Solana. And it's like, thank God I didn't. You know, I have nothing against Solana. I own Solana NFTs. I own Solana. But they are moving really quickly, and there's a lot of bugs to be worked out. You know, the whole space is moving quickly, and there's a lot of bugs to be worked out, but you don't hear, you don't see all this on like the main nets. You know, you don't see Ethereum doesn't go down for 48 hours. You know, OpenSea has issues, but it's not getting completely hacked and down for 24 hours. Or, I mean, they have their issues, but
plenty of broken sea issues. Let's not get the cart too far in front of the horse. But no, like I don't want to. Hey, knock on wood, but I just don't see me waking up one morning and my entire MetaMask and all my ETH is just gone, and all my NFTs just disappeared with no explanation. Like, unless it was my fault, and that's not me and a million, not everybody else utilizing ETH, right? Like that. If that happened, it'd be like, wait, what? Then it would just kind of like that. I don't think crypto would fucking take off if that happened, right? I truly don't think NFT space, Web3 blockchain technology would happen if something like that were to go down. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys didn't do that. Not an ETH maxi as you are, but probably wouldn't have any woke zombies in the wallet if you were on Solana. I'm not gonna lie. I've only had Solana airdropped into the Phantom wallet. Again, nothing against you. Just haven't meandered over that side of the fence. Sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the opposite side. It's grasser. It's greener where you water it. Who knows? That's just what I'm doing over here on the east side of things. I'm just watering the ETH grass. That's what I'm doing. But last but not least, before we get into some finish the sentence here, I was thinking of Midday Munchies. How, I know not financial advice, but spectacular fucking advice. How are you kind of investing in the NFT space right now? And I'll tell you how I am, just to kind of preface it. I have no need to really chase like free mints and all this shit and yada, yada, yada anymore. I am very, very happy with the communities that I've found, the stuff that I hold in my wallet. And what I'm doing right now is trying to plan for a long-term 1, 3, 5, 10-year strategy and just stockpiling those specific NFTs. And then woke zombies, Ether brews. Everybody's seen my Ether brew bag. Not even close to some of the Ether brew bags out there. Respected rhinos, Chad and Brad's, and a multitude of other ones. Like, that's how I've been going after it. And you know, this is just kind of advice without asking you, like, oh, what's your best advice for somebody coming into space? This is kind of like that kind of how should somebody tackle it right now? How are you kind of, and not financial advice, but spectacular fucking advice. How are you kind of investing in the NFT space right now?
So personally, I have always tried to buy the communities that I like. You know, when we were doing our shill spaces, people would come in and, you know, they would shill and, yeah, I like your NFT, and I might buy one here and there. And a lot of those projects, you don't see them anymore. Like, thank God I only bought one of them. But I really am buying into the communities. I mean, when we bought all of our Violettas, we bought into her community. We were supporting her. When we bought our rhinos, I love the rhinos. We've got, I don't know, 6 of them or something, 7 of them. We've got tons of Chad and Brad. I mean, we buy into these as the communities. You know, sometimes you'll find some that you really like the artwork and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll support the artwork. but it's mainly just the community. I know where that community's going. I like what they have to offer, and mainly supporting the people who are behind it, because if we support them, they'll support us, and we'll come up together. We'll come up as a community. We'll come up as equal projects, and it just builds that community better. And their community becomes our community. Like you can see in any given space, everybody's PFPs, the Chad and Brad, the Rhino, you'll see all these different PFPs in our spaces, and in their spaces, vice versa. So, I mean, it's a mingled community, and that's what we're trying to build. So, as we invest in another community that's been outside of our circle, that's kind of us bringing you into our circle, if that makes sense.
Or it's investing into a project that we wanted to invest in and now can. So like the Macs and the GACs and
That's
stuff
true.
like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you about that before I ask you about that, wifey, because I had a kind of a segue. Basically, Cody, your not financial advice, but spectacular fucking advice is invest in people, and that's literally what I'm doing exactly right now too. And wifey, we actually talked last night about the Mac floor and some things, and I'm getting really excited to kind of start seeing you degen out and kind of branch out on yourself and coming into a space with me. What 2-3 months ago, whenever it was now, I don't even, time is a flat circle, and coming in, I've never minted anything before or helped me mint an ether brew, and now look at you, like you were telling me about everything you're doing. So how have you, how's that kind of growth and how's that been for you? I mean, talk about that a little bit, and how you kind of personally getting involved right now.
It's been exciting, very exciting, learning about all of this and acquiring my own NFTs without having to have Cody do it for me. Like I can actually do it on my own now. But I'm really getting very interested in the GACs and the Macs, and that's my next purchase is my Mac, because Cody stole mine. So
I didn't steal it. I didn't steal it.
I know I gave it to you.
I didn't steal it.
But that's what I'm going for right now.